I always thought rock bottom would be louder. Maybe with sirens or someone screaming. Instead, it was the quiet kind. Cold tile under my cheek. A sticky spoon. My own piss creeping down the inside of my leg like an afterthought. You'd think that would have been enough to make me stop. But truth is, when you've burned every bridge and pissed on the ashes, the only thing left is the fire you feed inside yourself. And I kept feeding it. Heroin. Oxy when I couldn't get that. Fentanyl when I was broke and desperate, and didn't care if I woke up. It wasn't always like this. I was a son once. A brother. A friend. A maybe something to a girl who used to laugh at my jokes even when they weren't funny. I had a father once, too. Kind of. That's a whole story by itself. Maybe I'll get to that. If I live long enough. But this part, starts with a needle. A bad batch. A couch in a stranger's apartment in West Baltimore. I remember the way the room swayed like a ship when I stood up. I remember the sound of my heartbeat in my ears. Then nothing. Black. And then, suddenly, not black. It was rain. Cold and constant. The kind that soaked you slow, like time erasing chalk on a sidewalk. I was standing on a hill I didn't recognize, under a tree that looked too perfect to be real. People in black were gathering below me. At first, I thought it was just another memory, maybe my mom's funeral. But no, this was different. There were too many people. Some I knew. Some I didn't. I saw Eli, my old sponsor from NA, standing near the back, rubbing his beard like he always did when he didn't know what to say. I hadn't seen him in 2 years. Thought he gave up on me. Maybe he had. Then I saw her. Ray. She stood near the casket, face hidden under a black veil. Her hands clenched a wrinkled tissue she never used. Just held. Like she was holding something more fragile, something that could break if she let go. And then I saw my father. The son of a bitch was alive. Older, slower, gray. But it was him. Wearing a suit I'd never seen him in, looking more uncomfortable than sad. The wind picked up, and with it came a voice. Soft. Distant. Like it belonged to someone standing just over my shoulder. He came. Even after everything. I turned, but there was no one there. Just the tree in the storm and the ground below soaked with other people's grief. I walked closer to the crowd, and that's when I saw the casket. My name was carved into it. Ethan James Calloway. 1987 to 2025. He tried. That was it. 3 words. He tried. Like some kind of fucking joke. I wanted to scream. To tell them I was still alive. That this was some twisted hallucination from a needle gone wrong. But my voice didn't work. My hands didn't move. I was there, but I wasn't. And no one looked up. They just wept. Or stared. Or fidgeted in silence. Then Ray stepped forward. Her voice cracked like something hollow breaking apart. Ethan was many things. Most of them difficult. Some of them dangerous. But he had this way of looking at the world like he didn't belong in it, like he was just visiting. And when he smiled, when he really smiled, you almost believed he was right. That maybe he was from someplace better. Somewhere that didn't hurt so damn much. She took a shaky breath. I wish I could say he died clean. I wish I could say we ended on good terms. But I can't lie up here. I can't rewrite what was. I can only say, I loved him. Even when it hurt. Even when it was easier not to. My knees buckled. I sank to the wet grass. It didn't feel like a dream. It didn't feel like anything I'd ever known. I wasn't crying. I wasn't angry. I was just hollow. Empty like the space they were about to fill with my body. The sky split with a crack of thunder. Then everything dissolved, mourners, casket, the whole damn world, into light. And I woke up. Hospital lights. For drip. A beeping monitor. And a nurse with eyes that looked like they'd seen this too many times. You're lucky, she said. Narcan saved you. Again. I didn't feel lucky. I felt like a fraud in my own skin. They kept me under observation for 48 hours. Standard protocol. No visitors. Just me and my thoughts and the echo of that funeral. On the third day, Eli showed up. He sat at the edge of the bed without a word, arms crossed, waiting. Like he expected me to start something. When I didn't, he said, "I had a dream you died last night." I froze. "What?" He nodded. "Weird, right? It was a funeral. Yours. Ray was there. She said some shit that broke me. About you not belonging here." My mouth dried. He kept going. "And your dad showed up. In a suit. You believe that?" My skin went cold. How did you?" He looked at me then. Really looked. "I dunno, man. Just hit me strange. Like I was there. Like I wasn't dreaming." Something changed after that. It wasn't just the memory of the vision. It was the way the world responded. Ray called the next night. Said she'd been thinking about me. Said she had this dream she couldn't shake. "You were gone," she whispered. And all I could remember was how I didn't say goodbye right. The walls of reality were starting to shift, crack like old plaster. People were describing things I saw in that vision. Word for word. Same images. Same damn weather. It was like I'd died. And somehow, the death rippled backward. I didn't know what it meant. I only knew this. I had a second chance. But the man who came back wasn't the same one who died. Because the man at the funeral was me. And I couldn't unsee it. The world didn't look the same after I woke up. That's the thing they don't tell you about dying. You don't come back as who you were. Even if no one else notices, you do. Food tastes different. Time slows down in weird places. The air feels thick, like you're breathing in something meant for someone else. I spent the first few days walking like a ghost in my own skin. Checking mirrors twice to make sure I still cast a reflection. Holding my breath every time the wind changed, like I was waiting for that tree, that hill, those mourners to flicker back into place. They didn't. But something else did. Whispers. Echoes. Things no one should have known. It started with Ray. We hadn't spoken in months, not since I pawned her mom's locket for a 3-day high and told her I didn't remember doing it. But now she was calling me. Every night. At first, just to check in. Then to ask questions. "Ethan, this is going to sound crazy, but did we talk at your funeral?" I sat up in bed, heart rattling like a shopping cart on broken pavement. "What do you mean?" "In my dream," she said. "I was speaking at your funeral. I said you were dangerous. But that you smiled like you were from somewhere better. I remember it. Word for word." Silence crawled into the space between us. "Did I say that before? In real life?" I swallowed hard. No. No, you didn't." She was quiet for a long time. Then, just before hanging up, "It didn't feel like a dream. It felt like memory." Next it was Eli. He showed up at my door one morning, holding 2 coffees and that worn-out leather big book of his like it was a holy relic. "I need to ask you something," he said, not even waiting to come in. "The guy in the vision, was he wearing a red tie?" I blinked. "What?" "At your funeral. The man standing by the casket. Gray hair. Looked like you but older. Was he wearing a red tie?" I nodded. "Yeah. Burgundy. Ugly thing." "Why?" He stared past me, jaw clenched. "Because I saw the same man. Standing at the back of the chapel. And when I looked at him, it felt like he was me. The world was bending. Folding in on itself. Like something had broken in the space between life and death, and reality was trying to stitch the wound shut with old thread. But I wasn't ready for what came next. Because he came next. My father. I hadn't seen him in 15 years. Not since he left a voicemail on my 23rd birthday that just said, "You're old enough now. Don't blame me anymore." I didn't. Not then. Not until the drug stopped working and I realized how much of me was built from the silence he left behind. But now, here he was, standing in front of the halfway house they dumped me into after detox, looking like he'd aged 3 decades in 5 years. He didn't say hello. He didn't ask how I was. He just said, "I saw your funeral." We sat in silence in the cracked courtyard out back, near the rusted swing no one touched. I didn't know what to say to him. I didn't know how to talk to a man who never taught me how to be one. He lit a cigarette with shaking hands. "I was dreaming, but it wasn't a dream. I was wearing a suit your mother bought me in '97. Burgundy tie. I looked down at your coffin and thought, this is your fault. Then I thought, no. This is mine." He coughed. Looked away. "And then I woke up. Sweating like I'd run a marathon. Couldn't shake it. So I got in my truck and drove 2 states over just to sit here and tell you I saw it." I finally spoke. "Why now?" He didn't answer right away. Just stared off into the distance like the answer was hiding in the trees. "Because it felt like a warning. Like maybe we don't get many more chances." Something had followed me back from that place. Some truth too big for one person to carry alone. I started to wonder, was that funeral the end I avoided, or a future still waiting? Because every person who mentioned it, every echo of that moment, made it feel more real. Like I'd cheated fate, and it was trying to remind me, "You're still on borrowed time, son." I started going back to meetings. Not because I believed in them yet, but because I needed to be around people who'd seen their own ghosts. I told my story. Not the whole thing. Just enough. Eli watched me the whole time, nodding slow, like he knew what I was leaving out. Afterward, a woman approached me. Maybe 50. Soft eyes, crooked smile. "You said your name was Ethan?" I nodded. "That's wild. My husband's name was Ethan. He passed last year." I offered her a gentle smile. "I'm sorry." "Me too. But that's not why I came over." She hesitated, then said, "In the vision, did your casket have a gold stripe along the top?" My stomach dropped. "Yeah." "Why?" "Because I saw one just like it. In a dream. Last night. But it wasn't you inside. It was me. Whatever happened to me, it was spreading. Not like a virus. Like a signal. A broadcast from the other side, bleeding into people's dreams and memories. Tapping on windows. Whispering in ears. Telling us, it's not over. But it could be." Later that night, I stood in the mirror, staring at my own eyes. I didn't recognize the man looking back. Not because he changed, but because he was still here. The man at the funeral was me. But the man in the mirror? I didn't know what he was yet.